In this video, we're going to be checking out 6 really clever builds from the MakerPipe community, and these are all made entirely out of EMT conduit that you can get off the shelf at different hardware and home improvement stores, and they're also made with MakerPipe connectors that we manufacture in upstate South Carolina, so you can build all kinds of awesome projects like the ones that we're going to look at today. And we've got some really wild ideas. You may not be recreating any of these specific ones, but hopefully you'll learn some techniques and some different things that you can incorporate into whatever it is that you are making. With that said, this first one that we've got is a roof rack from Blanco, and this was shared in the MakerPipe Facebook group. And this one is really awesome. It's got all kinds of cool stuff incorporated into it. The first thing I want to highlight is this custom bracket that they made, and essentially this just sits between the bed rails and this camper top that they've got there. And as you can see, this kind of just sits in between the two things, and then it has these tabs that stick out, and that's what he bolted the roof rack to, as we can see here. So it looks like there's a mounting kind of post that sticks up off of that tab, and then the rack goes on top of that, and then there is a cotter pin that holds it in place, which is a really cool way to be able to take this off really quickly and put it back on. And then we can see that he's incorporated a lot of bends into this build using a handheld pipe and tube bender for EMT conduit, as we can see throughout this. So that's really cool, and we have a full video on how to use that I'll link down below if you want to check it out. But then we can see here that he's using various MakerPipe connectors. We've got T connectors here, we've got some 45-degree bracing with the 45-degree connector, and looks like mainly just those two types of connectors there. And then on top, we can see that he's utilizing some Unistrut, which is really cool. And if you haven't seen Unistrut or the accessories available, you can make an EMT conduit mount using solutions that they already have available. So you can incorporate Unistrut and conduit in your builds really easily and kind of combine them and use them for different things, as we can see here. And this is just a really awesome project and just a ton of great ideas. Here's a kind of a drawing of what his post, that I was talking about, that sticks out, and he's got that piece that is sticking off of there that he can then attach the roof rack to. So really cool build. Definitely check this out. I'll link it down below, and just really appreciate you sharing this. Next up is this really unique build. This is the Tiki Shack. This was built by Jimmy, and essentially this is just a rectangular enclosure that Jimmy built on top of this wagon platform here. And essentially there's just 4 flanges on the bottom that we can see that are attached. It just probably bolts through the grate down there that we can see on the bottom of the wagon. And then there is 4 verticals that go up, as we can see, 1 in each corner. And then essentially just utilizing the standard fittings you would expect for making a cube, which is the 90-degree fittings there up top, and then 90-degree fittings down there in the middle, and then it looks like T connectors grabbing on here in the front. And that's really all the connectors that you need to make a rectangle like this. And then he painted the whole frame brown, as we can see, which is awesome. And then here he's got it all decked out and has turned this into his mobile performing stage, pretty much, where essentially he's got his guitar, there's a speaker mounted up there, and all of this is powered off of a battery, which is cool, and just a really unique thing that people apparently book him, and then he goes and plays music at different places. So this is really awesome, and just one of those wild builds that you wouldn't expect to see conduit and MakerPipe with, but it's always awesome when people are able to use it for their business or their different hobbies. So really cool, Jimmy. Thanks so much for sharing this. Next up is a build that we recently did a build breakdown on that I'll link down below if you want to learn exactly how to make this. But this is a really awesome project that I love, and it's essentially just a storage solution for laundry. And as we can see here, they've got some storage bins that are built into the frame, and they're made to tilt, so you can easily grab things out of them or throw things in there if you're using it to sort dirty laundry. And then essentially it has this top bar at the very top that allows you to hang clothes off of it. And this is just a really cool idea, really customizable. You could put this in a certain space as they have here, or if you need to fit it in a really small space, you could do that. You can customize the dimensions and kind of use the same connectors, just customize it exactly how you need it. And we talk all about that in that video that I'll link down below if you want to learn exactly how to make it. But I wanted to highlight it again quickly because this is such a great build and I think really useful for a lot of different things. So thanks so much for sharing this, S. I really appreciate it. Next up is a simple build from Harry, and this is a restoration of an outdoor table that the legs had rusted off. And essentially, all he did was just use the MakerPipe 90-degree connector to make this simple cube that mounts to the top of the table that was still in good shape. And I think all he had to do, he said, was just replace some of the T-nuts inside of the top there, and then I imagine used some of the threaded pipe inserts from MakerPipe to be able to bolt that to it. But it's a really simple frame, just 4 legs, 4 connectors and gets the job done, and a really great idea to restore that table. And we've seen this time and time again, people that have metal frames for tables, or I think there was a generator one time where people are able to basically just restore and refurbish different things utilizing conduit and connectors, which is always cool to see. So thanks so much for sharing this, Harry. Great to see. This next build cracks me up. This is from Jerry, and this is meant to be a Dachshund barrier. And essentially, it's a really simple project where there's 2 adjustable angle MakerPipe flanges mounted to the column on this patio, and it goes all the way to the other side over here. And essentially is just a barrier to keep, I think they said they have 4 Dachshunds, if I'm not mistaken. I think, let's see. No, they actually have 5 Dachshunds. So to keep out the 5 Dachshunds, they built this, and I guess because of their short little legs, they're not able to jump over it. And you can see that they are not happy. They are very upset that they can't get to the rest of the patio. But I guess that means it's getting the job done, and it's really simple, just those 2 pieces of conduit going from one column to the other, and he just utilized the adjustable angle flange that allowed him to achieve this unique angle, and just made it really simple to add this barrier. And if they are able to get through there or over it, then you could put some chicken wire or something really easily on this frame to keep them out. But a really simple project, one of those things never would have expected again, but really cool to see. And like I said, this just cracks me up because it looks like he's pretty upset that he can't get through there. But really awesome job, Jerry. Thanks so much for sharing this. Last but not least is this really awesome solar panel array from JWoww. And of course, this is made with EMT conduit and MakerPipe connectors like the rest. And this is a really great design. If you want to make a large solar panel array, you can make these mounts and these stands really easily and not too expensive. But essentially here, like I said, just EMT conduit. And we can see here that it's pretty much just a long horizontal span that I imagine is longer than a 10-foot span that you can get off the shelf. So it looks like they broke up the span and just extended it by using MakerPipe couplings to kind of break up the horizontal span and just extend it and be able to get the dimensions that they needed. It looks like that same thing happened every few feet. And I imagine it was the same thing down here for the horizontal span as well, just to be able to create this and extend that frame at the very bottom. And then we can see it's essentially just got some bent legs that angle this towards the sun on one side here, and essentially they just used MakerPipe T connectors grabbing onto the horizontals on the top and the bottom. And then they used a handheld tubing bender to be able to create these legs that just go up and then grab on there. And then they're using MakerPipe T connectors to add these cross supports between each leg, which is really smart. And we can also see here they use some 45-degree connectors to be able to brace these as well. So this thing is really well built, has a good bracing, and just a really good structure overall. And I imagine is working out really well for this solar panel array. So really cool idea. Thanks so much for sharing this. And thanks to everybody for posting your builds. All of these will be linked down below if you want to check any of them out in more detail. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you in the next one.